Well, right now, as we say goodbye to Monday night and welcome in Tuesday morning, I, of course, follow Monday Night Football, where the show within the show is actually, if you listen to the Monday night game on the radio, and I know it sounds a little gratuitous because Westwood won and Joel Hollander used to be the general manager here, and now he's running Westwood One, and of course, we're the New York outlet for Monday Night Football on the radio. But to die for is to hear Marv Albert doing play-by-play at any time. And, of course, his sidekick is Boomer. And as far as the show within the show is concerned, that show within the show is Marv versus Boomer. And as far as wit and humor, no chance for Boomer, who was yet again made speechless tonight by Marv Albert. And being speechless for the radio, not necessarily a good thing, but it is so immensely entertaining. And I know it's more for going to the bars with the Monday Night Football action and watching with the television and the whole thing. But if you get a chance, give yourself some fun by listening to these two guys go at it. Doing the Monday Night Football game. And we will not start with the Giants right now. By the way, good job. Haven't gotten underway, everybody is asking me what. So we won't really talk about the Rangers off to the good start, or the Islanders or the Devils, not necessarily off to the kind of start they would like. No, we're going to reflect on the weekend that was, and it's clear now, isn't it? Yes, it is good to be king. No Subway Series this year. The Yankees, they couldn't hold up their end of the bargain, could they? But a World Series, that can be for the New York Mets. And that is still in play for the Mets, still in the cards, who will fold starting Wednesday night. Right now, there can be absolutely no argument whatsoever. None. One New York team is a bona fide success, a bona fide winner, even as we speak right now, as serious October baseball becomes starting Wednesday night, a little more serious. While the other team in town is this.
I'm through with standing in line. The clubs I'll never get in. It's like the bottom of the ninth, and I'm never gonna win this. Life hasn't turned out quite the way. American League Division Series.
Oh!
Tigers win.
Ouch!
Well, the celebration has begun. Now.
Yes! And, of course, with the New York Yankees, when Cano grounded out to second base, let the turmoil begin. Wright and Reyes and Delgado, this is three on a team with gusto. Murderers Row, and Cano becomes Death Row and out of the show. So is A-Rod, who ended up 8-Rod, F-Rod. You had to guess who would homer in an 8-1 game in the ninth inning on Saturday. You would never guess Posada, would you? Right now, the Yankees are no better off than the Colorado Rockettes or the Cubs from Chicago. What strikes at the heart of the American dream is when the haves end up in the same pile as the have-nots. When that happens, the victims are ambition and aspiration. The Yankees were made to finish on top, and every step below that might as well be the bottom. Steinbrenner issued a statement, as you may have heard, Monday. This is not acceptable. And then, about 30 minutes after that statement was issued, added, absolutely not acceptable, to carry a little bit more weight. How come George never includes himself when it comes to the blame game? It's always somebody else's fault, isn't it? It's never his. He spends like a wise man sometimes, doesn't break any rules, but sometimes, like somebody not so wise, does he go about spending what amounts to now a little over $1 billion in the last 6 years, as you know. The Yankees spent and spent and spent on power and might and muscle, and some of it even natural. But Mr. Steinbrenner overlooked the essential truth of the postseason. Pitching, pitching, pitching. Yankees didn't have any. The Yankees had the bats, the Tigers had the arms, and that's why the Tigers won, the Yankees didn't. George is deeply disappointed. What a surprise to hear that. So you figure Torre is gone because, well, George can't fire himself. Lou Piniella, getting ready for the American League Championship Series. He's out on the West Coast. Said he was stunned by the news Torre might be on the ropes. Stunned and happy, he could have added. Alan Nero, Lou's agent, said, "We haven't heard from the Yankees, but that Lou is considering 4 other jobs." Nero didn't say, but you know those 4 other jobs are the Yankees, the Yankees, the Yankees, and the Yankees. Ron Guidry and Tony Pena, they defended Torre, but nobody says, if Joe goes, we go. They don't have to say that because they'll go. If Joe goes, they just won't have a choice in the matter. Corey Lidle. And let me ask you one quick question. Can you core a Lidle? Corey Lidle threw Joe under the bus and then told Mike and the Mad Dog yesterday afternoon that he was, well, how you say, and what a surprise to hear this, misquoted, as if he could get away with it. He'd be telling everybody Mike and the Mad Dog also misquoted him. Consider Lidle a liar if he starts to say he's misquoting himself. Yesterday, actually late last night, the chef of somebody else's future said the Yankees were doomed when Torre put Efrod 8th. Sitting him, the chef, 1 game, the Sultan of Shot for another. The Tigers were wondering what was going on, said Mr. Cream and Mr. Clear. And I think, said the chef, it boosted their morale. And he takes another shot at Torre by saying, Leland knows how to put a fire under you. We didn't have that. And, of course, the Yankees won't have him next year and will be better off for it. Anger, 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 frustration, disgrace, humiliation, failure, finger-pointing, embarrassing times for the Yankees, and even number 2 in your program, number 1 in your heart, is being called a captain who didn't take care of all of the passengers on the sinking ship. Even some suggest that you trade Jeter, since Jeter has more trade value, Efrod, the better player. Well, when it comes to that, you know as well as I, you can tell Yankee fans might still be in shock. Listen, can we try for just a moment to be positive for once when it comes to the lightning rod? DJ Gallo says, leave the guy alone. The lightning rod only struck out 4 times in the series. Hey, same as Reggie in 1977. The fact that Reggie had all those home runs in 77 is basically semantical, problematical. The lightning rod has to be clean and pure, devoid of steroids, since if he was a user, he might hit 150 or 200. Maybe even have an RBI or 2. And it really isn't the lightning rod's fault. The Yankees didn't build big leads in the series, setting him up for success. And you got to leave the lightning rod alone, since what do you expect from number 8 hitters anyway? They don't produce. If you believe in karma, not to mention excellent baseball, there has officially begun, ladies and gentlemen, a seismic shift in the New York baseball landscape. Out with the old and tired and overpaid and underwhelming. In with the new and young and energetic and fun New York Mets. It's good to be king. King of the city, of the National League, of baseball America, and they will have a chance beginning Wednesday night to prove that to those who might doubt them, if not necessarily in New York, in St. Louis, Detroit, or Oakland. Remember the summer-like weather last week at Shea, and on the same day, later that day, that night, the rain in the Bronx, and confusion with fans and when they're going to call the game and getting home. All of that rain and confusion at Yankee Stadium on the same day, it was summer-like at Shea. And then the very next day, the makeup day for the Yankees at the stadium, these Yankees, were they not? Bothered by shadows, followed by very dark shadows Saturday in Detroit. The shadows caused by the late afternoon, darker shadows caused by the Detroit Tigers. The Metropolitans, meanwhile, on Saturday night were in warm L.A. with hot bats. In Hollywood, where dreams come true. You can feel it, can't you? The cosmic shift. Saturday, with the chaos and turmoil falling on the Yankees, the New York Metropolitans were advancing in a serious October of baseball. No, we're not going to get a Subway Series now, simply because the Yankees couldn't hold up their end of the bargain. It's official now. The New York Metropolitans, winners. And the Yankees? Well, they prove once again you cannot buy happiness. You cannot even buy your way out of the first round. The New York Yankees probably, arguably, will never get it. It's a great responsibility the New York Yankees have, because being a winner like they want to be every single year, every day, every hour, every minute, every second, it really makes for a lot of pressure, don't you think? It's a lot harder being a continual winner than it is being a continual or habitual loser. But the Yankees are discovering, well, that this may be a little bit too much of a burden for them to carry. For the Yankees, this was humiliation. For the rest of us, a disturbing concern. The bar is no longer being raised by the Yankees. The bar now, this bar of excellence, now being raised by the New York Mets. 12:21 on a Tuesday morning on the Fan New York City.